What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, we are talking about who is Mr. 101. Who's that guy? Is it CMC, Alvin Kamra, Derrick Henry, or Dalvin Cook? It could be any of these guys. It all depends on what your taste is for, I guess, to bring home the gold, people. But we're going to cover a lot of things on all scenarios of who can be Mr. 101, a complete breakdown, people. So I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get right into the episode. Now we are here in the 2021 fantasy football season, and I feel like, I'm a little sad that it's over. I definitely am going to miss it for the next couple of months, but we are here to drop fire content only. So we're going to be talking about who is Mr. 101. Now, a lot of people, they have, their situations where, I'm not going to take this guy because of that. I'm not going to take this guy because who the quarterback is, the new coach, et cetera, et cetera. But all those things, factor in. But I feel like you go with what you know. And what we know for sure is that CMC is a monster. He's a freaking superstar. He's a stud. He can't be stopped. But he did show us that he's human. He got injured. He only played 3 games this year. But hear me out why he should be Mr. 101 for you. Now, CMC, when he was in the game, people, here's a stat that I live and breathe on for a guy that I know is a freak athlete, that he is a stud no matter what. The 3 games he played, he finished RB2 in week 1, finished RB5 in the next week, and then the first 2 weeks that he played, he had 4 touchdowns, people. So then that's when he got injured, returned back week 9, and still finished RB2 that week and put it up stud elite numbers. He put up RB1 numbers, people, so we cannot ignore that. So now Mike Davis stepping up when he was called upon, actually finished, in PPR formats, running back 12. So you're telling me a guy who had his career best, who's been through Seattle, who's been through Chicago, who now landed with the Panthers, now had a career year in that system, stepping up for, the next man up with CMC out, finished RB12 in PPR. That is probably the best, career stats he's ever going to have, if he gets the opportunity to come back. I think it's definitely that they sign Mike Davis. Don't let him walk. Don't let him go anywhere. Keep him there because he's a guy that can step up and help out that running game. Now, CMC, man, he showed us that he's human. He faced injury. He only played 3 games. I'm not worried. I think I'm taking CMC in a lot of my leagues if I get that number 1 pick. Mr. 101, I definitely feel like I can trust CMC. When he came out of injury, returned week 9, I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea, if I should put him in, if I should leave him out. I put him in, and he ended up putting up elite numbers. He ended up putting RB1 numbers. He finished RB2 that week. So I definitely feel like I can trust CMC, with my heart and soul going to some of these leagues with that number 1 pick. So I'm not too really worried about him re-injuring himself. He has this entire time since week 9 to heal, to recuperate, and just get back to being that beast mode CMC that we know. So Mr. 101 for CMC, I'm not scared of it. I might full send it. So next up, we got Alvin Kamra. This is another guy that I can see myself taking at Mr. 101. He finally broke that curse of 81. I wouldn't say it was a curse, though. 81 receptions, 3 seasons in a row. I thought he was going to do it again. I thought Taysom Hill was going to be the guy in the way to cap him at 81 receptions, but then he broke it. But we all know the problems and the cancerous and how toxic Taysom Hill is. But that's not for this episode to be venting about. But Alvin Kamra at Mr. 101, I can see happening. He's a safe 101 for me, being that he brings a lot of those touchdowns. He brings a lot of those targets out of the backfield. But he doesn't bring that many targets out of the backfield than CMC. If we look at the targets, if we look at the catches, even if we look at the rushing attempts, CMC dominates that position at rushing and, and target. So I definitely think, CMC, that builds his case even further why I will take him at 101. But again, I won't be mad if you take Alvin Kamra, being that he finished at RB1 this season at Mr. 101. I wouldn't be mad at all. You know what I mean? So I definitely would like to be that guy at the number 2 spot to get CMC. But again, this is a case saying why Alvin Kamra could be your 101. I don't hate it. I definitely think, Taysom Hill, those 2 weeks, remember those 2 weeks that, Alvin Kamra owners were like basically dying and want to kill Taysom Hill. But I definitely think that, the Saints don't go into 2021 with, Taysom Hill as their quarterback one, as their QB one, we should say in real life. I don't think that will happen. I think they're going to bring a guy in through free agency. You just have to hold off because I really don't think they're going to pull the trigger on that. And I think Drew Brees is done. So I definitely think, Alvin Kamara could definitely be, RB1 every week, week to week. I don't think we need to worry that much about it, but I definitely think, him being that safe Mr. 101, I don't hate you for it. I don't dislike it. You know what I mean? But I don't think the QB situation really matters to the extent where I will shy away from, taking him at number one either. So I definitely think they bring in a guy. I don't think they go into the season, with Hill as their quarterback one, but Alvin Kamara, Mr. 101, why not? I don't hate it. So next up, we're going to talk about Let That Boy Cook, Dalvin Cook, the original chef. Shout out Lil B, the Base God. Some of you might not know who that is, but go ahead and Google it. You'll probably see this, the first thing that pops up. But anyway, Dalvin Cook at Mr. 101. It looks a little weird with CMC still on the board, with Alvin Kamara there as well. It looks a little weird, but I understand it. He's a stud. He's a beast. But drafting him at Mr. 101, we have to understand what comes with Dalvin Cook. He hasn't finished an entire season. He's always had to deal with injuries. So we know for a fact that he's going to miss some games. So he missed, week 17, sorry to hear, that he lost his father. That is very unfortunate, man. I understand it. Let's just say that. But when we're drafting Dalvin Cook, we can understand what we're getting with him. We're getting a powerhouse. We're getting a guy that's seeing 5 to 6 or even more targets out of the backfield. So he's helping you in PPR value as well. So taking him at Mr. 101, you just have to draft, very running back heavy, knowing that he's going to miss games. He's going to miss some weeks. So him being a powerhouse, him semi being injury prone, I think we can label him injury prone. You just have to have that workhorse, that next guy to step up. Even if it is, his handcuff, even though we saw Alexander and Madison not really step up as much as we wanted with the games that Dalvin Cook missed. So therefore, you just go elsewhere. You just draft another workhorse for another team and try to balance that out. I would go running back heavy if I'm going Dalvin Cook, at Mr. 101, because I know for a fact he's going to miss games. So that's my only, spiel about Dalvin Cook, going 101 over CMC and Alvin Kamara, possibly, Derrick Henry, my next guy. This is a perfect transition. I'm not even going to edit it and do like a little transition thing. I'm just going to keep this running. Let's see how this works. But now, Derrick Henry finished RB3. He is a pure runner, people. I definitely feel like he's lacking the targets out of the backfield. He actually had a career high targets out of the backfield this season. Some people don't know that, but still, I definitely feel like that's what's keeping him from being 1 and 2. He comes with 1,000 yards. He comes with 10 100-yard games this season. So he comes with the yards. He comes with the touchdowns. I think he had like 2 200-yard games, and then there was a couple 170, a $185 games where he just went stupid. I definitely remember that Houston game. They were basically the worst, rushing defense in the league. So we kind of knew that was going to happen. But him putting up 200 yards multiple times in one season, that is very impressive. And that's why, again, I wouldn't be mad if you took him over Alvin Kamara, CMC, and Dalvin Cook. But I understand it. But I really think him not getting those targets, him not bringing that PPR value does not really help you get past RB3, because you're going to have 2 more guys, maybe even 3 more guys above him that are going to get those targets out of the backfield, get receiving touchdowns, and etc. So he might have a buttload of yards. He might be killing it in the red zone, getting those touchdowns as well. But there's a handicap here when you're in PPR leagues. So I definitely think you need to think about that. But again, this is a what if. This isn't anything, I'm going to bash you for if you take Derrick Henry at Mr. 101. But, knock on wood, he's fairly healthy. He's reliable. He's a guy that's going to give you double-digit points every single week. You don't really have to worry about him getting game scripted out. You don't have to worry about, his quarterback. It really doesn't matter who his quarterback is, for the simple fact, all they have to do is hand the ball off. And again, you're getting a workhorse. You're getting a guy who's getting 20 touches per game. So how can you be mad at that? So Mr. 101, Derrick Henry, I don't hate it. I'm not mad, but do you, boo-boo? So that wraps up this episode. Who is Mr. 101? It's a tad bit early. Might do this again. A lot of things can change. Who knows? I don't think any of these 4 guys that I named today are going to be leaving their team anytime soon. But again, it's a little early right now. This is liable to change. You never know. I might throw a Nick Chubb in there. Nah, not that. That's pushing it too far. I would definitely be mad at you if you took him 101 over these 4 guys that I labeled. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the episode. Who's your Mr. 101? Who do you think you want to, take right off the draft or immediately at that 1 spot? So I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.